My husband's ex-wife was furious my stepdaughter called me mom. Okay, so I, 34F, married the man of my dreams last month, 44M, and he has a 16-year-old daughter from his prior marriage. I've been in her life and she's been in mine for 4 years, and I've done my best to be there for her as a friend and trustworthy adult, and she's a really, really great kid. I felt closer to her than I did any of my sisters, and I could see she looked up to me and trusted me. One more important thing, she's on the autism spectrum. I swear that's relevant. My husband and I went on our honeymoon for 2 weeks, and then we came back on Friday, and my stepdaughter came up to me and asked if we could talk, and she told me no one had ever been as considerate as I was learning how to make foods in the exact way she liked them, or as patient with her poor emotional regulation. Her words, "I think she's doing great," and she told me I overall was her favorite person in her life, so she asked if it was okay to call me mom. This really, really caught me off guard, and I stopped for a moment to process it. And she got embarrassed and told me she was sorry and it was stupid, but I told her it wasn't stupid because I would love that. She got super excited and hugged me, and it was lovely. I was telling my husband about it later, and it suddenly sunk in that I had become somebody's mom. I just stopped and I told him I'm someone's mom, and he asked me if I felt like I was in the delivery room. Haha. I laughed at that, but I got so emotionally overwhelmed I started crying. This morning she came downstairs and said "Hey mom" to me, and it's gonna take some getting used to, but holy shit, that was a great feeling. I still don't believe I've earned the titles, but I'll be damned if I'm not going to try my damn best. So it seems last month I got a husband and a daughter too. Pretty good deal if you ask me, smiley face. Relevant comments. Bookish beachery, OP was learning how to make her daughter's food the way she likes. That line jumped out at me. That she thinks the daughter is the bee's knees, even though the daughter feels insecure about her behavior. Imagine the confidence she will feel and how validated the daughter feels. This brings me joy. OOP, the first time I made food for all of us, within the first month or 2 I knew her, I made spaghetti and broke the spaghetti in half, and she said she couldn't eat with it broken in half. Then told me she was very sorry and would make herself a sandwich, but I told her it was okay and I could make another batch, which I did. I found out later on down the road she cried after I left because she thought she insulted me and ruined her dad's relationship with her specific food preferences. Sure, it was a little strange at first, but hey, I'm sure we've all asked a waiter or waitress for something very specific at least once in our lives, smiley face. Update. So I recently made a post talking about how my stepdaughter asked to call me mom, and it made me really happy. My husband has 2 children from his previous marriage, a 16-year-old autistic daughter and a 26-year-old daughter. When they divorced, his ex-wife advocated for custody of the older daughter. Sounds like it was because she was more independent and less work, and he got the youngest one. As a result, his younger daughter always felt kind of unloved by her mom and doesn't go too far out of her way to talk to her. So the older daughter finally got a job in her field that she's been fighting for a few years, and she wanted to have a dinner with the family. She seems like a nice girl from the times I've interacted with her, but her mom seems passive-aggressive and unkind. We all got to the restaurant and sat down, and it was pretty nice and civil. I was sitting next to my stepdaughter, and she was a little overwhelmed because she hadn't been to the restaurant before and didn't know what to order, so we were looking at the menu and I pointed out a type of pasta that looked similar to something we make at home that she likes. She said, "Thanks mom." I guess she said it loud enough that her biological mom heard because she literally stopped everything and asked, "What did you just say?" My husband and I tried to defuse the situation, but she was very agitated by it, and actually asked why she did it. Their older daughter stepped in and asked if she could tell her mom about her new job, and that got her to move on finally. My stepdaughter didn't say much for the rest of the evening, but on the way home she tried to apologize for ruining the evening, to which we told her she didn't. Then, if this wasn't bad enough, both she and my husband received a 4-paragraph-long message talking about how disrespectful and egregious it was that she called another woman mom and how she was very disturbed by it. My husband is just in disbelief and feels horrible for our daughter. He went to talk to her and she didn't say much, but she clearly thinks this is all her fault. If anything, it's my fault for not discussing how she should refer to me at the dinner with my husband and then discussing it with her beforehand. I just fucking hate that this woman is upsetting her so much, and I see why my husband divorced her. Thank you for reading. TLDR, my step-daughter started calling me mom, and when her biological mom found out, she was furious and sent her and her dad a 4-paragraph-long text message talking about how disrespectful that was, and now our daughter feels awful. Relevant comments. Remarkable_buyer 4625, info, does the ex spent time with her autistic daughter at all? If not, I'm not sure why she'd be surprised. OOP, she sees her on holidays and family gatherings, that's really it. Apparently her mother is entitled to that respect just for existing. 101,010 trees, I know it's not the same, but I was called mom at work. LOL. I don't have children, but apparently I exude mothership. Hopefully not in a bad way. The ex-wife is a real piece of work. It's nice that you took on taking care of special needs child, it is no small feat and you are deserving of the title of mom. OOP, definitely. I have no sympathy for a woman who demands to be called mom while putting in no effort to be mom, or a man who demands to be called dad. Also, I just want to say, yeah, she technically is a special needs child, but she's very capable. She has been looking to apply for an after-school job and has started thinking about college, and while she does struggle with emotional regulation and has very specific preferences for things, she's no different from the rest of us, smiley face. Adventurous Travel 1, that poor girl. If her mom acted like a mom, then it wouldn't have happened. Her actions or lack have consequences. I'm not sure if she has a therapist, but it might help explain things in a way she gets, and from a professional. The biggest thing I would be worried about now if her mom keeps sending things to her, or making her feel guilty about more things. OOP, she does have a therapist who she meets with weekly. I'm sure my husband's ex-wife is going to come up tomorrow. Emerasmoke, info, how long since the bio mother gave away her 16-year-old daughter's custody? How much time does she spend parenting her? How have they bonded? She would have some nerve to be angry that a child she is not parenting as much as you calls you mom. You seem to be a very sweet parent to her. Keep it up. OOP, since elementary school, on holidays, and family gatherings, by awkwardly asking how they've been doing since last Thanksgiving. My husband got custody of the young autistic child and learned how to make foods exactly the way she needed them to be, learned how to speak her language, as he calls it, and sit and single-handedly raise a still-developing child. Then his ex-wife got custody of the high schooler who could be left alone at home and make her own food so she could work and do her own thing without having to worry about anyone or anything. Update. Last week, I made a post about how my husband and my autistic 16-year-old stepdaughter went to dinner with his ex-wife and their oldest daughter, 26, to celebrate her getting a job she's been chasing her whole adult life. Then my stepdaughter called me mom at one point, and ex-wife got pissed and stopped the whole table to make a point, and the rest of the evening wasn't great. And then when we got home, both my husband and stepdaughter got a big text message from her talking about how disrespectful that was. So the day after the incident, my stepdaughter came over to me and told me her older sister texted her and asked if she could read the text out loud. I just nodded and said definitely, but on the inside my eyes rolled to the back of my head like, Jesus Christ, here we go. However, her sister sent her a very, very lovely and thoughtful message saying she felt bad about what happened the night before and was sorry the two of them haven't been talking much lately, and asked if she wanted to try to be sisters again. Then she said she asked her what movies she's seen lately, and movies is her special interest, so that meant a lot. She asked. Not gonna lie, I was caught off guard by her sincerity and kindness. It was very, very sweet. Then later that day, I got a text message from her older sister, whom I assume got my number from younger stepdaughter, and said she wanted to get to know me better since I am legally her stepmom now and I'm the woman her baby sister is calling mom, so she definitely wanted to try to get to know each other. She also mentioned that she didn't get to celebrate her sister's 16th birthday with her and felt that was a really big deal, and asked if the three of us could get dinner and see a movie. Tonight the three of us went out and saw a movie and got dinner by ourselves. My younger stepdaughter picked the movie and she loved it, but my older stepdaughter and I didn't get it, but all that matters is that she liked it. Then we sat down and had dinner together and had a very nice time. Then on the way out, my younger stepdaughter asked if she could run into the store next to the restaurant to buy something really quick, in and out, so we said alright. While she was in the store, my older stepdaughter told me she wanted me to know she misjudged me and watching the two of us interact both at the dinner the other night and tonight, me going through the menu with her to find something she'd likes, me advocating for her when their mother got upset, and how she clearly feels comfortable talking around her, and that she completely understands why I'm now mom to her. All in all, a pretty great night. After I got home, I saw she sent me a text related something we talked about, so looks like we're gonna be talking now. Still got some stuff to work out with her biological mom, but we'll take this as a victory. Anyway, yeah. I just figured I'd share something positive since there's a lot of negativity on Reddit and with my current situation, so I figured I'd share a positive update, smiley face. Relevant comments. Lindo, AW, I read the last post when it happened. I'm so happy about this development. I'm so happy your daughter is being supported by her older sister, and your family feels like it grew a bit more. Congrats and thanks for the wholesome update. OOP, yeah, it made me really happy to hear they were talking again. I left this out in the post, but I remember a few months ago my younger stepdaughter was trying to tell her sister about a movie she saw that meant a lot to her, and her older sister was being very sarcastic and snarky about it to get her goat, and she actually started crying. So I think it's great they're getting along. Update. Alright, so I've been posting a lot on this sub and this will be the last post I make on this sub specifically. I'll be posting updates on my profile from now on, but I could use the support because I'm a little shaken up about this. So I've been making posts about how my 16-year-old stepdaughter has been calling me mom and her bio mom found that out and got pissed and has been sending messages to my husband and stepdaughter. I've also been getting to know my older stepdaughter and it's clearly making my husband's ex-wife more and more unhappy. Tonight my husband was sleeping and I was scrolling through Netflix for something to watch as I fell asleep too, but then my phone started buzzing from an unknown number. I picked up and lo and behold, it was my husband's ex-wife. She was very clearly drunk, so the first thing I did was put her on speaker and grab my husband's phone to record it. She said a bunch of rambling nonsense, but among it she said I don't deserve to be called mom, I don't know my stepdaughter or love her like she does, and that I was a whore who was able to lure my husband in with my body since I'm 10 years younger than she is. I didn't really engage and was just like, oh yeah, and interesting the whole time. But then she said she deserves full custody of her and was going to get it. This was a little worrying, but my husband has a really good lawyer who's been taking care of it and I assumed that phone call did her no favors. Eventually, I told her I had to go to bed, and then before I hung up she told me my husband was gonna drop me when I got too old just like he did with her. My husband is still asleep and I haven't told anyone but I'm not gonna lie, some of the things she said kinda hurt. I love my husband and trust he's not only dating me for my age and I love my stepdaughter very much, but hearing someone say those things can be really upsetting. Anyway, I blocked her number and plan to tell my husband about it in the morning. For now, I'm just thankful for my family and we'll figure it out later. Relevant comment. OOP on the possibility if she was the cause of her husband's divorce and if she has spoke with him about his ex-wife's behaviors. Ex-wife is likely trying to find a way to offend OOP. OOP, I think it's just as deep as they got divorced and then he fell in love with someone who happened to be younger than she was, which took a bite out of her self-esteem. They had issues long before he met me. If I'm being honest, sounds like the younger daughter was of let's have another baby to save our marriage, baby. Yeah, it seems like she's not doing well in life right now, and the fact that her daughters are getting closer to her ex-husband's wife is really fucking with her. One more thing, I think the fact that I don't have a body that has housed a child like she does also messes with her. I have a close friend who had a baby a few years ago, and she was fucking terrified her husband was going to cheat on her because she didn't think she was sexy anymore, which was a bold-faced lie because her husband still gets thirsty around her to this day, lol. Little update. I'm assuming everyone has already read the posts on my profile about my husband's ex-wife and how things are with my stepdaughter, so I will write as such. To make a long story short, she found out we recorded the conversation and that seemed to scare her off a bit. Things have been quiet, so that's good. However, my stepdaughter found out she's still really upset that she called me mom and she disclosed something to me. She said she intentionally called me mom within earshot of her biological mom because she has some hurt feelings about her mom more or less dropping her and wanted to essentially rub it in her face that someone else picked up the role she left. She obviously feels really bad about this and didn't realize it was spiraling into something so big and told me she was so very sorry for doing that. If I'm being honest, I had a feeling that was the case because that doesn't really just happen. But it was good to hear it directly from her. Little update. Let's see what happens with this post. My husband's ex-wife called me again, really bizarre interaction. Okay, so a few weeks ago I posted about how my husband's ex-wife called me all sorts of classy names, you know, whore and bitch and such, and was saying she was gonna get custody of my 16-year-old stepdaughter because she wasn't my kid. Little follow-up on that. Once she found out we recorded the conversation, she backed off and I didn't hear from her for a while. So, something happened. Tonight I got a call from her, and I immediately grabbed my husband's phone again to record. However, she seemed a bit more modest and asked if we could talk and said she hoped it was okay she was calling me. Again, I tried to say as little as possible, but she told me she was sorry she reacted like that and called me names, and she also said she wanted to be on good terms. I had no idea what to say, so I just kinda brought the conversation to a halt and then told her I had to go. I don't know what to think of that. Obviously my guard is up because it was such a random and bizarre turn of events, and if the timing was different I might be less cynical. That being said, part of me is wondering if maybe she's actually trying to make nice. I told my husband and he's equally as surprised, but we're gonna sleep on it and figure out what to do tomorrow. Not gonna lie, I'm not interested in having a relationship with her. Maybe later on down the road if she shows a significant improvement in behavior and self-control, we could talk then. However, right now, I just really don't care because the things she said, done, and caused have cost so much emotional bandwidth, stress, and tears. So yeah, that kinda just fell into our laps.